Chapter 122. The Weird Ancestor 3. Su Qing. Su Qing turned his head and saw the figure of the little fatty, Huang Yan, not far behind him. Huang Yan had seen Su Qing from afar, and was waving his hands enthusiastically while running forward. As he ran, the flesh on his body trembled. When he got close, he spoke proudly. "Su Qing, do you know that my senior sister sent me a message again? Ha ha. Let's go. I'm in a good mood today. I'll treat you to the egg." After he finished speaking, he wanted to pull Su Qing away. However, Su Qing stepped back and avoided him. But when he thought about the strange egg and the fact that the other party had given him materials, he hesitated for a moment. "I want to sell materials." "Selling materials? What do you lack? I can give them to you," Huang Yan said generously. Su Qing shook his head. "All right, then I'll accompany you to sell the ingredients. Then you'll accompany me to drink the eggs." "It's settled then." Huang Yan had a happy expression on his face. It was obvious that he was anxious to share his joy with others. After he finished speaking, he looked around and pointed to the shop at the side. "Let's go to this place. I've been to this place a few times. It's not bad." Su Qing looked at the shop that Huang Yan was referring to. This shop was also the destination of his trip. There were many disciples buying and selling here. Su Qing's gaze swept over and saw a familiar face. It was none other than Zhang San. He was also purchasing materials. When he noticed Su Qing outside, he smiled and greeted him. "Let's go. Let's hurry up and sell them all. Drinking eggs is the most important thing." Huang Yan spoke. Su Qing's gaze swept across the shopkeeper in the shop. He no longer hesitated and entered. This shop was very large and had a total of 2 floors. There were all sorts of mutated beast materials hanging inside, and each of them was extremely valuable. As they got closer, the shopkeeper at the counter raised his head. This shopkeeper had a mustache and looked very shrewd. He looked at Su Qing and smiled. "To fellow disciples, what would you like to buy?" "Selling materials." Su Qing calmly spoke and walked to the counter. Under the gaze of the shopkeeper, he took out the materials from the leather pouch. Not only were there items given by Huang Yan, but there were also some loot from killing wanted criminals. The shopkeeper looked at Su Qing and then swept his gaze across the materials placed on the counter. After pondering for a while, he picked up a few items. He took a closer look for a while before casting a meaningful glance at Su Qing. His expression gradually turned gloomy, and the light in his eyes sharpened. "Little friend, there's something wrong with these items of yours. A few days ago, the Diamond Sect reported to my 6th peak that their sect had a theft and lost a lot of resources. These items of yours are all recorded in the records. They are items that the Diamond Sect lost. Little friend, what is the meaning of taking out the stolen goods and selling them to us? Could it be that the Diamond Sect's theft is related to you? As a disciple of the 7th peak of the 7 Blood Eyes, could it be that you stole from the Diamond Sect?" The shopkeeper was clearly doing this on purpose. His voice grew louder and louder, spreading through the entire shop. In an instant, all the disciples from the various peaks in the shop fell silent and looked over in unison. Su Qing wasn't surprised, but he sighed softly in his heart. He felt that he was already cautious enough, but he still couldn't avoid it. However, he also knew that it had something to do with the Diamond Sect's ancestor. Killing intent instantly surfaced in his mind, and the sense of danger was intense. He could tell that the person who helped the Diamond Sect's ancestor was definitely a major character from the 6th peak. He swept his gaze across the shopkeeper's neck and the various materials placed on the surrounding shelves. He then looked in the direction of the sea, and a cold glint appeared in his eyes. Inwardly, he was considering whether he should make a big move and leave or fight for what was right. However, just when Su Qing was weighing the pros and cons in his heart, the eyes of the little fatty, Huang Yan, immediately widened. His body then leapt up and fiercely slammed the counter, creating a loud bang. "Stolen goods, is this also a stolen good?" The little fatty picked up the mutated beast bone that he had given to Su Qing. His eyes were filled with unprecedented anger, as though he had suffered a great humiliation. "This is my F***ing item, you dare to say that my item is stolen goods?" The little fatty furiously threw the bone in his hand at the shopkeeper's face.